Pygmy Seahorse. Imagine being so good at hiding that humans didn't even know you existed until someone accidentally dragged you into a lab on a piece of coral. That's exactly what happened with the Pygmy Seahorse. They're smaller than your fingernail. If you saw one, you'd swear it was just a bump on a sea fan. What's actually wild is that if you move a juvenile to a different colored coral, it'll eventually change its own skin texture and color to match the new home. It's not just camouflage, it's like their body is a 3D printer for disguises. I honestly wonder how many thousands of these things divers have swam past without ever realizing they were looking at an animal. Leafy Seadragon. At what point does a fish stop being a fish and start being a piece of floating trash? The leafy sea dragon is basically a seahorse that gave up on everything, except looking like a piece of seaweed. It has these long, leafy bits all over its body that do absolutely nothing for swimming. They just float there. If a predator looks at it, they just see a clump of kelp drifting in the Australian current. They don't even have a tail that can grip things like other seahorses. They just drift and hope nobody bites them. It's a high stakes game of I'm not here, and honestly, it's one of the most beautiful examples of evolution just leaning into a weird idea until it works. Dwarf Seahorse. Don't let the name fool you. These guys are under an inch long, but they are surprisingly intense. Most seahorses are slow, but the dwarf seahorse can flap its tiny fins over 5,000 times an hour. That's a lot of effort for something that looks like it would struggle in a light breeze. They live fast and they die fast. They can actually get pregnant again just days after giving birth. My analysis? When you're that small and everything in the ocean wants to eat you, you don't have time for a slow life. You have to be fast, and you have to make a lot of babies before your luck runs out. Pot-Bellied Seahorse. This is the one that breaks the seahorses are tiny rule. These things can get as big as a dinner plate, over 30 centimeters. If you saw one, you'd probably be shocked by how chunky they look. The males have these massive, swollen bellies, but it's not because they're overeating, it's a brood pouch. They can carry over 1,000 eggs in there at once. Think about that, 1,000 babies in one go. It takes them all night just to give birth. It's a massive physical toll, and I've always thought it's a bit unfair that the male has to do all that heavy lifting while being the size of a ruler. The dance. This is the part that gets a bit sentimental. Every morning, many seahorse pairs meet up and do a synchronized dance. They link tails, change colors, and spin around each other for several minutes. Scientists say it's a ritual check-in to make sure both are ready to mate, but if you watch it, it looks a lot more personal than that. Some of these pairs stay together for life. When one dies, the other often takes a long time to find a new partner, if they ever do. In a world as brutal as the ocean, seeing a fish that actually cares about its partner is, well, it's weird, but it's also kind of nice. Pygmy versus giant. We just found a seahorse in Indonesia. Satomi's pygmy that is smaller than a grain of rice. A grain of rice. On the flip side, we have deep sea giants that are several times larger. It makes me wonder how much we're actually missing. We spend so much time looking at the pretty reefs, but there are probably hundreds of seahorse variations sitting in the dark, deep water that we haven't even named yet. It just goes to show that the seahorse body plan is one of the most flexible designs in nature. It works whether you're a microscopic speck or a foot-long giant. We've barely scratched the surface.